What is up, Facebook world? Man, this is a really monumental night tonight. Something that I've been really feeling called to do for a long time. And that's me talking again in the background. Sorry about that, guys. Um, I've been really feeling like we need to do something. I know you guys have heard me talk about this a lot on other broadcasts, but I've really felt like we need to do something for the metastatic breast cancer community for some time now. I just feel like it's a voice that isn't heard enough. And I've just really felt like we need to have more conversations as they relate to metastatic breast cancer. So we are unveiling tonight a new program that we're going to be holding the first Tuesday of each month called Mighty in Metastatic Monthly Podcast. And it's going to feature my friend, Kim Lusk. What's up, Kim Lusk?
Hey, April. Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for being on tonight. I told everybody that we're going to be introducing the show this evening. So this is not like our first episode, so to speak. It's more of our introduction to our first episodes that will be coming up starting in February. So today we're making our introduction to Mighty and Metastatic, our monthly podcast, which is going to be aired all the same places as the Beat broadcast across Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's everywhere, guys. Everywhere. And we're going to have a co-host here, Kim Lusk, who is a metastatic breast cancer survivor warrior in the house. And she's going to be kind of helping moderate the show. We're going to be your hosts. And then in addition, guys, we're going to have Josie in the house, who's from our advisory board. Hey, Josie, you there?
Greetings. Good day. Good night. And hello, everyone.
She's our Northern A Canadian in the house right now. She's from our advisory board. Josie, tell everybody a little bit about yourself because we go way back.
We do. So my story in medical oncology is that I've practiced in this area for over 25 years. And throughout these years, my role has been both in clinical roles and research, which I was experiencing all types of breast cancer. So pretty much my 25 years in medicine has been around breast cancer and all its subtypes. But the last 3 years, I'm now in the pharmaceutical industry where I now educate, help with new product launches, and work with patient advocacy groups.
And that's exactly why we have you here, too. And one of the main reasons you're on our advisory board is because you are aware of all the wonderful resources to breast cancer survivors, breast cancer warriors, people who are currently going through breast cancer, and whether they need financial assistance or if they need some kind of physical assistance, any kind of resources, mental assistance. You're familiar with all of those different things.
Yes, a little bit of everything, but definitely here to help. Just like the mission, Breast Cancer Can Stick It, that's what we're here for, and that's what we want to do.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool because our history together, Josie and I met when I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer back in 2010, and she was my oncologist nurse at that time. So you and I got really close really fast back then, and you were so pivotal for me and for my mental outlook, during that time. It's such a difficult time. But this broadcast isn't going to be about medical advice at all. We do not give any medical advice here at all whatsoever. We're really just going to be talking about folks' journeys and basically just to let people know that if you're going through metastatic breast cancer, there's a place where you can share your voice here. We would love to have you on the broadcast and share your thoughts about what you think we can do to help, how you're going through metastatic breast cancer, what you could share with others. For example, I've got a friend, Paige, who's been going through metastatic breast cancer for many years now, and she's kind of an old pro at it, and I'm sure she would have a lot of things to say about it. And then Kim, who's more recently diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, may have a different vantage point on that. And so we just want everybody to know that going through metastatic breast cancer, it's definitely a time that your life changes a lot of perspective. But you have to remember to go through that journey however is best for you, and what might be best for one person might not be best for another. So just make sure that you're doing whatever it is that is the best for you, and know that we're here to support you however we can. Whether it is giving you resources, a place to vent or to talk, we're here for you. We do have our survivor group, which is Survivors Rock, a breast cancer constituent community on Facebook, where you can join that and definitely let us know how you're feeling. Talk to us. We'd love to have you on the show. We want to have kind of some panels and things like that, and we'll get people lined up for next month. So please, if you're a metastatic warrior out there, please reach out to us through any of our channels and let us know if you'd like to be on the show. We'd love to have you no matter where you are on the planet. We'd love to have you on the show to talk about your experience. Something Kim and I were talking about earlier, and I think Izzy, who is our producer, she could be here on tonight. I wanted to actually introduce you guys to her too, but I was talking to her a little bit about some of the things that I've found that have been really interesting, and like the different ways people deal with a metastatic cancer diagnosis. And I ran across, actually, a friend of mine sent me a podcast called "Dying for Sex," and I asked Kim to watch it. So Kim, you're gonna watch this now, right? She totally blanked out. Now she's like gone.
Yeah,
She like bailed.
what?
She's like, I'm not watching that now.
I was like, who, what?
You're still there,
Catchy
yeah.
little phrase.
Never heard, honestly. I was like, okay, that's something funny.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, just when you think you've heard it all, here comes something else.
Right, I know. Yeah, it's an interesting story. It's on Hulu, but it came from a podcast that came out called "Dying for Sex," which was a couple of friends started this podcast when one of them was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and kind of changed her perspective and started living her life completely differently. And it's just a very interesting take, and I'm totally interested, Kim, for when you have a time to check that out, to let me know what you think about that. But I
Oh, you
also,
want to review like Siskel and Ebert?
yeah, dude. Yeah, we can bring tomatoes. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah.
we'll bring tomatoes. So for those of you who don't know Kim, I know we just introduced Josie, and I just kind of glazed over Kim because I'm like, oh, everybody knows Kim, but not everybody does know Kim. Kim is otherwise known as the Goddess of Thunder. She's an amazing bassist out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Kim, if you want to take a second to tell everybody kind of your story and just introduce yourself, that'd be awesome.
Sure. Like April, hi everyone. Like April said, my name is Kim, Goddess of Thunder, bass player. I do a little bit of Tina every now and then as well, with an amazing Brian Adams tribute. They're wonderful. Called "Run to You," and I just can't thank them enough. But it's been a while because of my situation. So I will start with the journey in 2023. I was diagnosed with stage 1 triple negative breast cancer. They told me they caught it early. I went through several rounds of chemo and went through radiation in November of 2023, and that was in January, February timeframe. Yeah, it was scary. But I have a history of cancer in my family, even though I tested negative for the BRCA gene. So that can still happen. So in November of 2023, I rang the bell, completed everything, got my clean bill of health. And then in late 2024, I noticed I had developed a numbness in this area of my mouth. And it was just kind of weird. It was like, what, I had taken a fall and actually busted my lip over here. They had to sew it shut. And so I had experienced a little numbness from that. And so I'm like, why would it be over here? Because nothing's going on over here. So I went to my PCP for my annual physical, and she said, you might want to go to your neurologist and have that checked. I said, yeah, I was thinking about making an appointment. She said, it could be nothing, but wouldn't you rather be safe? Yeah. So my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer in 2024. So I went, you know what? let me take care of that and go be with her, and then I'll take care of it when I get back. So I made an appointment when I got back, and they called me while I was at work and said, "Hey, we're calling from, the neurologist office. We wanted to give you the results of your scans." So I had a CT scan, PET scan, all the scans. Scan, scan, scan. And they said, "What we found is very concerning. We've already sent the results over to your oncologist. You need to call them and get in today if you can." Everything stopped. It was like, "What? Hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
because Kim, like, everything stops when you have a regular, I'll call it regular diagnosis of breast cancer. When you
Yeah.
don't know, everything stops. But when you get this type of diagnosis, it's got to be so different, man.
It really was. I remember being able to hear my heartbeat in my own chest, like all the other noises, and it's like, okay, let me just get. I had to get up. I was in my office. I had to get up and shut the door because I knew, hey, I may get a little misty in here. So I tried to I tried to keep a level head and call the oncologist. They said we don't have any appointments today, and I remember thinking to myself, I could be dying. Can they not see me today? Can you not squeeze me in? I'm scared. Something's going on. And, you try to keep a level head, but sometimes, you know, we're human, right? And I'm thinking I'm at work. Um, I'm in an executive position. So and my office is a fishbowl. It's all glass, and so, everybody's gonna see what's going on, and I don't want to get up and go to the bathroom or to my car. So I got an appointment for the very next day. And when my oncologist walked in, I knew it wasn't good. Um, Long story short, he told me exactly what was going on. So, you know, I'm one of those people, don't sugarcoat anything. Tell it like it is. And he said, you're unfortunately, the situation doesn't look good. And I'm thinking, my heart is about to leap out of my chest, and so is my stomach and everything else. Um, and I know I looked terrified, and my husband was with me. David was with me, and uh, you know, the things that go through your head, like, oh my God, so are you about to tell me that I'm about to, check out of here or what? And so he said, we've got to get you started on chemo right away. You are stage 4 metastatic. And I remember asking, what does that mean? And he said, what it means is it's metastasized to other areas of your body, which I'm going to show you on the scan so you can see it.
Let,
And it doesn't look good. And
let-
I remember, I'm kind of giving you the Reader's Digest version,
right.
but I literally fell apart. Um, I asked him, I said, please don't let me die. I'm afraid. All of my stuff just comes out,
Yeah.
you look at my face, you can tell what I'm thinking, but it just came out. You cry, you scream, you panic, you feel like you're gonna faint, you might throw up, that kind of stuff. All the above happens. And when I was calm, then my husband was emotional. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I gonna tell how are we gonna tell our families? How, and I said, all right, after about, I'm going to say, 30 minutes of the freak out, the screaming, the crying, the oh my gods, and praying and all of that, because it's an emotional thing. You freak out. You're scared.
Yeah.
You're thinking, damn, am I going to die? And if so, when? So I asked him, the one thing I didn't hear you say, and this is the elephant in the room, and he knows me. I've had the same oncologist since 2023. He knows me very well. I said, give it to me straight. If I had ignored this and done nothing, how long would I have had? And you know what he told me? Probably just a few months.
It's insane, man.
And it was like,
Yeah.
you know,
Eh, Hey, Josie, I know you're here, and the point that stood out to me. I mean, many things stood out, but from a medical perspective, that point where the person says, "What does that mean?" when you say metastatic. If someone asks you to define metastatic breast cancer, how do you define that, Josie?
Well, I think Kim was going to allude to that, but just talking about it, that the original site of where the breast cancer was, it is now traveled through the lymph nodes to a distant organ or site beyond the original site of the breast cancer or where the tumor was found initially. So, does that make sense that it's been able to travel and distance itself into another organ other than the breast?
Yeah,
And
so just going to the lymph nodes would not be metastatic. It's once it travels beyond that,
Beyond. So
right?
that's its way of getting there, right? So lymph node status would just be, localized pretty much. But past that, distance going through that system and hitting distant organs like the liver, maybe the lungs or the brain. That's how it travels. And just to note that we do have a vast lymph, lymph sorry, lymphatic system. There's nodes here, shoulder, under the underarm. So it can travel very fast, just to Kim's point and how her doctor told her, had she not done anything, it travels fast.
Especially when it comes to triple negative breast cancer, right, Josie? That's even more rare and aggressive, or more aggressive, rather.
It tends to be on the biology side, a very fast growing cell division rate. So it's a little faster than other subtypes of breast cancer. And so I'm glad Kim didn't ignore it,
No
and
doubt. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
just taking care of business. But
mhm.
it tends to be very aggressive, and to that point in the African American culture,
Mm.
it often hits Black women faster in triple negative.
Yeah, triple negative breast cancer is more common in Black women than Caucasian women, right? That's
Yes.
what I've read,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So big screening for, initial and, ongoing for
I think.
that very reason.
And Kim, you were talking about that your mom had was diagnosed with breast cancer at the time. It was between your original diagnosis and your diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer, and
hmm
how you did the genetic testing, which is something else I definitely want to get into through this broadcast, not tonight specifically, but
Right.
um, and how didn't have any of those genes, and just so folks
And
know,
she didn't either.
yeah, and
Mom
just
didn't either.
so folks know, that doesn't mean, and Josie, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a correlation. It just means that that correlation has not been found as of yet. That's how I word it anyway, Josie.
And
Yeah, correct.
I'm
And the incidence might be higher, right? But we're still all susceptible to it with or without the genetic diagnosis or gene found.
Yeah. And I'm just going to look over here to see. I've got some comments coming through, and I just want to tell everybody right now you're watching the introduction of a new podcast that we're starting called uh, Mighty and Metastatic. It's a monthly podcast that we're starting. It's going to be the first Tuesday of each month. I'm super excited to have my co host, Kim. If you want to say hi again, Kim, real quick, that'd be
hi,
awesome.
Skimla. How are you?
Kim Lusk in the house. She will be my co host. And then we'll also have a moderator here, Josie, who's from our advisory board. She is a oncologist RN with lots of experience over many years in breast oncology, just to kind of keep us straight with our definitions and things like that. And again, if you know somebody who has metastatic breast cancer, please let us know if they'd be interested in coming on the show. We want this to kind of be more of like a panel where we can just talk openly about what it's like going through metastatic breast cancer. I mentioned at the top of this that We're not here to give out medical advice. We will never give out medical advice at all whatsoever. Um, but we are here to make there be a voice for the metastatic breast cancer community. It's just something that I feel is underserved, and really felt called to give a voice to you guys, give you an opportunity to have a space to talk about this in a safe area with other like-minded people and people that might be able to give you advice, or as far as mental advice and things like that of what it's like going through a diagnosis like this. So let me take a look here real quick, and I'm going to see who all we have. I've got a few comments coming in. So
Hey,
let me
April, do
look.
you mind if I share a couple of things?
Yeah, go ahead, Kim. Hang on just a second.
All right. So,
Go ahead.
for those of you who may not know, I have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And at the time I was informed of this by my oncologist, I wasn't sure what that meant. And so said, well, I didn't win the pink ribbon lottery. I won the surprise that just keeps on giving. I won the booby prize. And wow, I just realized that was a pun. Okay, anyway, if either, you're one of us or know someone who is, or maybe you accidentally click this and now you're going to be educated on this, and we welcome you nonetheless. But, we started this, April and I were talking at an event a few months ago and realized that, we both felt the same way, that there's not enough information out there about metastatic breast cancer. I specifically had triple negative breast cancer, which is, the most aggressive form. And so to get stage 4 diagnosis, it's serious. Any cancer diagnosis is serious. It is really, really serious. But, I wanted to share 3 things, and I know we'll probably get into this, but one the things that really ripped the band-aid off for me were, is it curable? Stage 4 metastatic breast cancer? No, it is not. So I was told, you are no longer curable. So that hit me in the face pretty hard. And then, is it treatable? So yes, it is treatable. And it's pretty much a lifelong subscription to something that nobody signs up for. It also does not mean that, oh my gosh, I'm stage 4, I'm going to drop dead next week. There are people that have lived with metastatic cancer for many years. There are some that don't. There's a lot of stats out there. But, you know, I lived all of last year scared. It never leaves your mind. It, changes your body. So, we'll leave a lot of that for subsequent episodes. But
All right.
I just wanted to share, because you may be looking at me thinking, well, she's so positive. Let me tell you, it took me a year to get to this point, to this mindset of, being at peace and saying, you know what? I'm not being treated for nothing. I'm being treated so that we can slow down the progression and I can enjoy my life.
That's right.
So, we will get into a lot of those things, but I just wanted to share that just as, we kick this off, and open the door for, I'm sure you guys have questions. And Josephine is an expert, a medical expert that we have on here. And Josephine, we're so happy to have you. And April, thank you so much for having me. I
I'm
really
going to
do,
drag you around everywhere, Kim. What do you mean?
Yeah,
you
the
know,
goddess of thunder. Yes,
I
absolutely.
I love giving back and I love
Yeah.
helping people. And so I feel that that's what I've been called to do. And I'm going to keep doing that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I love it, man.
Right on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a few people commenting in here. I also wanted to point out something else. One thing that I've seen over my years of getting close to folks who've had metastatic breast cancer, or metastatic cancer in general. I said it earlier. If you missed it, is that when you're going through a diagnosis like that, you have to deal with it however you need to deal with it. If you want to throw everything into it and fight and all that stuff, then do it, and I will be behind you 100%. But on the flip side, I've been around friends who were like, I just don't want to do this anymore and all that. And you got to support that too. And that's really hard, especially as a family member or a friend, to somebody going through that. I know you guys maybe remember me talking about my friend Amy Pippi Boyd, and she fought, till the very end, and she did everything that she could and all that. But there's plenty of people who are just like, I don't want to fight anymore, and it's hard, but I feel that it's doing them a great service to support them in whatever it is that they want for their life, because it's their life in the end. For all of us, it's our own lives, and we get to decide how we want to live it. So we just got to remember to stay supportive. I saw a question in here. I want to give a shout out to a few people I've missed already. Brandon Hoggs in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you. I'm ready for some Just Like Pink this year. And I got Jen Roper is in the house. What's up? What's up? Bobby Finn is here. He says, hey, Kim. Hey, Kim. Hey, April. Colin Jones says, hey, Kim. Hey, April. Colin says, late, but did not know you were doing it. Yes, Colin, this is really an introduction to the show. We didn't do it with a lot of fanfare. We'll probably do a lot more fanfare for the first actual episode. This is our introduction today. Bobby says, Kim is one of my all-time favorite local bassists. Been a bit, much love. Say hi to Anna. Anna, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Rosalinda is in the house. LaDonna is here. Miriam. Aquarius is in the house. Okay, I got a question here. I know that this was actually geared to Kim, but I feel confident that this is something I would like Josie to answer on this one. And Josie, I was curious. Whenever a person finishes their treatment for triple negative breast cancer, let's say, and they're told, hey, you're no evidence of a disease as far as we can tell. You're good to go. We're gonna do these follow-ups and all that stuff. There was never a point for me, and I'm sure not for Kim either, where they were like, well, your chance of recurrence is XYZ. I have a feeling the chance of recurrence doesn't change necessarily per person. If you're looking at what's the chances, they're going to have to just look at all people. They're going to take all people, every type of person, every race of person, everything of a person, and they're going to be like, okay, here's all these people that had triple negative and that were diagnosed with stage 1. And then they finished treatment. There was no evidence of disease, and their chance of recurrence is blah. They are diagnosed stage 2. Their chance of recurrence is blah. Diagnosed stage 3. Their chance of recurrence is blah. Do you know those numbers, Josie, or is it even set up that way?
Yeah. So based on initial staging, whatever subtype it is, all the things that you said that we take into account, we do. That's pathology, right? What type of treatment? It's what does the biology look like? So when somebody says, and I'll just talk about HR positive because that's pretty definitive in that the higher the grade or the stage, right, the chance of recurrence in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's pretty clear. So when women start sharing that, oh, it's been 3 years, or they get to that 5-year celebration where there's no evidence disease, the recurrence rate starts going down. It can go down to a point where we're at a general risk of anyone in the population, if that makes sense. So
that's actually what happened to me, Josie, with Dr. O. She told me after 7 years, when I got through my treatment, did all my follow-ups for the 7 years after I completed treatment, she said, you're cured. You're as likely to get diagnosed with cancer as if you'd never had it. That's exactly what she told me. And that was after seven years of being triple negative breast cancer free. That doesn't mean, I don't know if that does mean it's zero, but in the case of somebody who's on one of our committees, Christina, she was diagnosed again or had a recurrence in a stage 4 after 10 years, which is probably not very common. And it was probably, I would guess, a very slow growing cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different based on, the differences are based on, like if I was stage 1 and I went 7 years, and then I got to kind of to zero. With Kim, what stage were you when you were diagnosed?
I was stage 1,
Yeah,
uh, no lymph node involvement. They removed 2, found nothing.
right, right. And and
Yeah.
and sometimes, you know, I think we all struggle because it's like, well, what can we do to prevent recurrence? Sometimes there's nothing you could do. You could do everything like the main things I know that Dr. O always says is that you know, keeping a healthy body weight, a low fat diet, exercising a minimum
Exercise.
of 30 minutes of walking per day, which that doesn't sound hard, but it is. I struggle with getting 30 minutes walking in per day. I mean, and it's important to me, but I walked yesterday. I didn't walk today. It's like, it's hard, man. And then also drinking a maximum of 3 drinks per week is what she says. And not
As an alcohol.
and not all at once is what she says. So
Right.
I guess if you were gonna go, I'm gonna do everything I can to prevent recurrence, the answer would be to do those things. Like I don't drink. I am maintaining a healthy body weight. I'm not scoring high points on the exercise, but I'm doing better than most, but not as good as I could be.
Mhm.
So doing all those things, that's all you can do. And I always try to encourage people to do those things. Um, but
And your annual with your PCP, like you're keeping a healthy relationship with your physician.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like get those annuals,
yeah.
get those screenings at whatever age. I
Well, and
mean, we have to check those off the box for everything, right?
well, yeah, like I did my colonoscopy. I do that every however often they tell you to. Trust me, I do it when they tell me to because I hate it every time. But I do that, and then I do my well women exam annually, and all those things. So not
Yeah.
just if you're
In addition to, right.
right. So not just your wellness exam, your annual wellness exam, but all the recommended cancer screenings. Even if you didn't have colon cancer, I'm still getting colonoscopies to get checked in that way. And I know that there was somebody, a man that we had on our broadcast one time who caught colon cancer really early because of that annual screening or that screening that he
Exactly.
did. I mean, it's so important. But like we were saying, Kim, you can't look at somebody and go, "Oh, well, they had a recurrence. They must have done something wrong." That's just not how it
N
works,
No.
So,
No, and you ask yourself that, and I asked my oncologist, "What did we miss? What did we do wrong? What happened?" Because let me tell you, going through chemo was not easy and, like, all the things.
right. All the stuff.
So, what happened? And it said, "It's just, it's unpredictable."
Mhm.
And I thought, "Is there anything I could have done differently?" We talked through everything. I, had gained a bunch of weight because of the steroids. And I lost it all. Lost all the weight. I was getting ready to go to Europe. Had to postpone the trip. But I thought, okay, if I know we did everything that we could do, okay, okay, those are the cards I've been dealt. We did what we were supposed to do and it recurred and we knew there was a chance of that. So,
Mhm.
that's just what happens. Does that happen to everybody? No, but everybody's body is different. We're not all
Mhm.
not cookie cutter. So, it just happened.
yep, yep.
Mhm.
Well, it's so funny because I'm sitting here, we're talking, and I'm like, we could go on forever, but I don't want to give away the farm. We've had a big conversation tonight related to metastatic breast cancer. I hope you guys are as excited about this show. You and Kim and Josie. Hope that
Yeah.
you two are excited about the show as I am, and I hope those watching right now are also equally as excited. I just really feel like this is an area that we've really needed to tap into, that we need to embrace. I think a lot of people are really scared to have these conversations, and I don't think we should be. I think this is something we need to talk about. I also think there's a lot of opportunity for education, learning what we can do to help lower our risk of breast cancer and things like that, and recurrence, like we were talking about. But just trying to understand what it's like going through a stage 4 diagnosis. It can only help all of us to understand that more and to gain the perspective that is gained by having a metastatic diagnosis. So, okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We got 12 people watching, man. We're rocking and rolling right now. I want to give a shout out to a couple of other people who are here. Mandy is in the house. Mandy says, Kim, so good to see you. Mandy Jackson Leach, she's drummer chick in the house. What is up? What is up? Sean Medina is here. He says it's great to see us both too. Awesome. Good to see you. Aquarius, I hope that answered your question, Aquarius. I think for Josie, for Kim, when she finished her treatment for stage 1, I just want to make sure that I get this answered for Aquarius.
Oh yeah,
But
sure.
when Kim was diagnosed with stage 4 or stage 1 triple negative breast cancer originally, and completed her treatment, at that point, do you know what the stat is for the chance of recurrence for someone who is stage 1 triple negative and just completed treatment? Do you know what the stat is for potential recurrence?
I don't know the exact stat. I've seen some mixed numbers. Josephine can probably answer that question. But based on what I was told, and there not being any evidence of disease and, being cleared and all of that, I thought, okay, if I looked at the list of things that were risk factors for recurrence, right? That may increase. So I lost weight. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Things like what you eat, what's good for you, drinking a lot of water, getting exercise, all the things. So but the stats or the percentages, I think can vary. One of those things is, African American women are more likely to be diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer at a higher rate. So it could be different based on your ethnicity, your genetics. There's a lot of things at play. So, like when there's statistics out there, percentages, I look at those as averages because they're not, static numbers, so to speak. And I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research. I'm not a medical professional, but I feel like, that's part of advocating for yourself to make sure that you're,
Yeah,
keeping up.
the whole knowledge is power thing, and
Right.
I think your point is well taken. That I don't think any of us have ever been given, hey, before you leave, want to let you know what your chance of recurrence is or whatever. I don't think we have those numbers. And Aquarius, sorry that I couldn't give you like a solid answer on that
There
one.
is like a 5-year relative survival rate based on localized, regional, and distant. It's an approximation, right? So, like localized with triple negative, a 5-year survival rate is as high as 90%. But to Kim's point, we're drilling down, right? We're all individual. So, statistically, according to this 5 year status, that's what you were looking at localized. And then, regional, might be 65%. But if you want to look at 5-year relative risk, or hey, I can bring on a physician and we can go through this, right? But it's just a framework. But to Kim's points, you're taking in those other factors like the biology, right? How fast it was dividing and etc. But if you want to do some research, there's a 5-year relative risk based on the subtype of breast cancer, and that can give you a number, but it's not a guarantee, right?
Right.
Statistically, you're
Like,
looking at this 5-year thing, which April, because that's what Joyce does, right?
right.
So it gives you kind of, okay, but you know, it's called the SEER 5-year relative risk. Like it's pretty high at 5 years when you're diagnosed with triple negative localized disease at 5 years, there's a 91% risk of it not coming back.
Hey,
That's
Joseph, don't you also have to consider So stage 4 metastatic, I know a lot of people have heard the word metastasized, and metastasis
Yeah.
where it comes from, but doesn't it also depend on when you say the biology, kind of digging a little bit below the surface of that, is how far the metastasis has gone? Is it just in the bones, or has it gone to, the liver, the brain? Is it in the bones? Is it in all three? And
Yeah.
that type of information, that type of situation, I should say.
Yeah, well, that's the difficult part, right? So, diagnosed with they say de novo, like meaning, stage 4 right away with triple negative at like 5 years, it's like 16% chance of survival after that 5 years. But which organ did it go to? I've known women for 25 years that have metastatic breast cancer, bone only, still living at 25 plus years. Liver, it depends on how much there's involvement. Is there a crisis? Is it stabilized? Can we, take it out kind of thing? There's a story for everybody, right? Like, what's your story? So we're hearing it, but you're absolutely right. Bone only disease, we're talking chronic disease. And that's what I was going to interject earlier with you, Kim. Like, yeah, it's when you sort of get through it, and it takes a long time, and everybody's timetable is different. But through my experience, 25 years, women are handling this like any kind of chronic disease. Let's take the cancer out of it right now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's a chronic disease. And, just these little sort of tidbits help, but everybody's different, right? So, I've seen it. A lot of people have seen it. But to your point, yeah, brain's very difficult if it went to the brain, but there is new drugs coming out right, left, and center. So again, the story is probably the less organs involved, the better. And which organ is it? And what is it doing? And how is it, affecting you? So what you're getting at is very true. Just at the beginning, and then, where are we later? All that makes a difference. And, you can't emphasize it enough. Everybody's different. This is, my journey. This is your journey. I metabolize things different than you would. I have different side effects. You know what I mean? But what is very encouraging is precision medicine, targeted therapy. We're learning a lot every day, and we can look at this in terms of a chronic disease for a lot of people.
Yeah, I just was looking, and it's funny that you just said that, because Aquarius just commented and said, I have a friend that has been dealing with metastatic for about 25 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
Amen.
can be just a thing like that. And also wanted to say, Kim, Bobby Finn says, I will be sure to share the link. Sorry to hear your diagnosis, Kim. Much love. Tell David I said, excuse me. Tell David I said, hey, I hope your show helps those looking for support. Always a supporter. Thank you so much, Bobby Finn. Appreciate that very, very much. It's very cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Bobby.
And like Kim said offline before we started the broadcast, everybody has an expiration date, right? So that's something we need to not forget, and live each day the best you can, man. That's all I can say. And with that, I'm gonna wrap it up, because my God, guys, I'm just telling you, we could keep talking forever, which is great. I'm really excited about this show. Again, it'll be the first Tuesday of every month. It'll be the three of us plus a guest here and there. And I'd love to have your friend on. If you have a friend that has metastatic breast cancer, please do let us know. Share this link out. We're looking for other metastatic folks that want to come and share their story, talk about what they're going through, maybe give some thoughts on how they've been dealing with it, what kind of change of perspective it's given them. And then Josie will be here to make sure that we get all the definitions right and have resources available for us if we have any that we need to hand out. So, man, thank you guys so much for joining this evening. And we will see you guys for Mighty and Metastatic next month on the first Tuesday of the month. Join us. We'll see you then.